Hello, welcome to What the Feminine, where we show the world how to have crucial, nuanced conversations and how healthy feminine and masculine embodiment are the gateway to global healing. I'm Nicole George, the CEO and founder of Sovereign Magazine, and as the host and moderator of this show, I'd like to remind our guests and audience that the questions posed in today's episode are neither a reflection of my personal beliefs, opinions, thoughts, or ideologies nor of Sovereign Magazines. They are simply a guide for us to go deeper into our constructed beliefs and ask ourselves, how can we remain open and curious to being recoded to a more compassionate and cohesive way of living? The content in this episode could contain references to topics and difficult subject matter that may be triggering for you, so please honor yourself and inner knowing. As our show is never a substitute for any professional guidance, please always seek the guidance from a certified professional. And today we have four incredible women from all around the globe. They're going to introduce themselves and share where they're calling in from today. So, Bonnie, why don't you go first?
Sure. I'm Bonnie Morrow. I'm a mother of little ones, and I'm an author, and I'm my mission and purpose in this lifetime is to activate the hearts of women and help raise the vibration of this planet. And I am so happy to be here, and I feel these conversations are really important in doing that.
Thank you. And where are you calling in from?
Oh, I'm calling from Colorado in the
Yeah.
US.
Okay, Velva.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to this important conversation that we're going to have today. So, I'm Velvedon Silver, and I am the Catalytic Coach. I run programs for women with energetic coaching, how to trust their intuition, how to remember who they are and why they came to this planet. I'm an author, and I also work doing catalytic healing sessions. So I'm calling from Hawaii today because I am here bringing in the codes from Atlantis and Lemuria from the whales that are here and swimming along the ocean floor. So thank you.
And you normally are in Canada. So that is also to be noted. All right, Terra.
Hello, everybody. I'm so grateful that I get to be on this panel. These conversations are so incredible and so important to what we're moving into in the coming year. And so my work is as a life strategist and business coach. On the life strategist side, I work with women healing their and reconnecting to their inner child so they can reclaim their self-worth and rise into the woman they're becoming. And the business coaching is kind of like a stream of income that just kind of popped into my path. And I'm tying in human design into my work. And I am calling in from Alberta, Canada.
Love it. Okay, Crystal.
Thank you. Well, thank you for hosting the space and welcome everyone. I'm Crystal Cockerham. I'm a certified Red Tent facilitator, spiritual mentor, and author. And I like to guide women to unleash their feminine wisdom, claim their sovereignty, and rise as the goddesses they are. I like to do that by helping them fully awaken their intuitive gifts, deeply integrate the sacred rhythms of lunar wisdom, and navigate every sacred phase of their womanhood's unfolding with fierce grace. And I am really happy to be here today to really explore this topic, which is always really high up on that list for women for, gosh, as long as I can remember.
Yeah. And where are you calling in from?
I'm calling in from Michigan.
Yes, yes. Okay, so the topic I didn't reveal just yet is money, worth, and the feminine frequency of abundance. And so I always love to start by defining part of what we're talking about because everybody might have a different meaning or maybe how it shows up in their life. So, how do you personally define abundance beyond money? Who wants to go first?
I'd be happy to.
Okay.
Abundance shows up, in a way that we have to be willing to acknowledge it and see it. It's one of those things that I think when we look at an abundant life, it's kind of like our definition of success. An abundant life can look like a lot of different things to a lot of different people, as you had indicated. And for me, with when abundance shows up, it can show up in as simple as a text message from somebody because they're thinking of you. Abundance can show up as, money coming in unexpectedly. It can show up as extra hugs from your kids. It can show up as so many different things. It can be like I'm trying to wrap my head around all the ways, but it's really comes from a sense of gratitude. Abundance is tied directly to our sense of gratitude and how we're willing to hold that authentic space.
Yeah, I love that. So many of us forget about gratitude and we just think about money and whether or not it's in our bank. So that is really good. Who wants to go next?
I'll go
Oh,
ahead and chime. Oh,
Oh, go ahead,
no, you
Crystal.
go. You go ahead.
okay. For me, the first thing that I think of when I think of abundance, um, used to like back in the beginning of everything, yeah, it was money and, what I hold, right? Like what I have or collect. And as I did my work and was working with women, what I found for me, abundance is related directly to the energy of receiving and giving. And so by that I mean, if you look at an infinity symbol, some people say it's the breath in, it's the pause, it's the breath out. Well, abundance is absolutely related to our ability of what we allow ourselves to receive, whether it's from others or we give to ourselves. And that's in relationship to the giving as well, right? So as women, oftentimes, and I do see this shifting, but oftentimes it's because we overgive and we close off those channels to receive. Whether we are receiving by gifting ourselves time for us, whether we are receiving by, getting a special cup of coffee or whatever while we're out and about, or getting our hair done, whatever that is. But it can even be as simple as allowing yourself to receive a compliment without deflecting from the compliment in any way. So for me, abundance is related to that giving and that receiving.
I love that so much because I often say now that my currency is actually time. So, how much time do I have? How am I spending my time? What does my time look like? How does it feel? And so, my personal currency is all related to timing. And now that I have a business in alignment, a job, if you will, I never think about my time as being drained by anything. And so I feel completely abundant in my life in all areas because I always feel like I have enough time. And so I love that symbol of infinity. As you know, it's one of our symbols within Sovereign because, or infinity, I think I said finity, infinity, because I do think that it is a muscle that we as women need to exercise more is that giving and receiving and that flow because I don't think we do exercise that a lot. So I really appreciate that. Okay, Velva, go ahead.
And I love the infinity symbol. I have it tattooed on my foot. So, Crystal, it's near and dear to my heart in what you said. So, to me, abundance, it's kind of like what Terra was saying. There's so much to the word and the meaning. And to me, it's the ability to be able to express my soul without distortion. So, speaking without shrinking, which is something many of us as women work on our entire lives. Creating without fear. It's like, I'm not worried about how this is going to land with what I'm channeling and what I'm bringing. I'm fully authentically just going to let it flow from my words. And it's loving without bargaining your worth. And what I see a lot in my work is when women come in, they don't even know their worth. They can't even look in the mirror and say, I love myself. They feel that they're not worthy. And this is the biggest thing I think in the culture that we're working on with women is you are worthy just as you are. You are enough. you are deserving. And whether it's through the programming of watching our own mothers and grandmothers, not stand in their ability to receive and feel worthy, it's something that we are breaking that cycle. So truly, it's being witnessed in my full medicine, exactly as I am, exactly as the words flow on my blog or my post, and not worrying about if other people aren't going to understand it. That's what abundance is to me, is the wholeness of my soul, and not fragmenting any of that off anymore.
Wow, that was so beautiful. I love that so much. I'm going to expand on that in a little bit. Okay, Bonnie, what do you have to say?
Well, I agree with everybody's take on abundance because I feel like abundance is all around us. It's in the air that we breathe, it's in the feelings that we have, it's in the beauty of the natural world. Like, abundance is our birthright. Abundance is who we are. Like, scarcity is a distortion. And so all of it is abundance. And I believe almost everybody spoke about having somewhat of a mindset shift to be able to see that, to be able to see the abundance in every bit, and to like showing up unapologetically, being you, seeing the value of everything in your life. Yeah, abundance is who we are. We're not separate from us. That's just an illusion. And so, yeah, I love everybody's take on it, because it just brings it all into a bigger perspective.
I love your sentence. Scarcity is a distortion because it leads right into my next question, but I love that sentence. Scarcity. Ah, that is just so good. Okay, so where do scarcity patterns originate and how do we begin to unravel them? Who wants to tackle that?
I would love to start with this one, actually.
Okay, go
So,
ahead.
our scarcity patterns tend to come from the conditioning from society, the conditioning from parents, and the conditioning from the spaces around us. And that conditioning, at the underlying piece of that, is fear. And the fear comes from the not enough. So some of it could be generationally passed down as well. When we look at even our own demographics, for me personally, my grandparents were from old country Poland and came over in a time when things were really, really scary and really scarce. And so they lived in this space of fear and scarcity. So when we look at the generational patterns handed down, then we look at how we were raised and what kind of environment we were raised in. So I don't know for the rest of the ladies, but I was raised in southern Saskatchewan, Canada, in the mid 80s, where crops were mowed off by grasshoppers. So when we look at the drought and we look at what that meant for farmers, which my parents were farmers, we look at that conditioning that also plays in. There's never enough money, there's never enough this, never enough that. And so when we look at that, it then becomes really around the fear of the past reoccurring. And if I tie in human design to this, that is born in the spleen. So our spleen, if we're undefined, amplified by other people's fears. If we have a defined spleen, those are our own instinctual fears that come in. So there's so much. This is a bigger conversation, and I'm looking forward to what the other women have to contribute to this as well. But in my experience, that's where I see fear actually show up in my business students. I guess this is why I brought up that I was a business coach. My business students, because they are running businesses online and they're attempting to move through all of this stuff that I just talked about. That is what I see in my clients.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I can definitely identify with that. As I grew up, my grandparents would like wash out their plastic bags or their tinfoil because they grew up in the Great Depression and they saved every little thing, right? And so I have that imprinted in my mind as to what you're supposed to do to, not waste. And so our household is really big on eco-friendly, not wasting, but it all trickles down to my grandparents living in the Great Depression and all of that. So definitely can identify with that. Who wants to go next?
I can go. So, my whole thing this year has been working on the nervous system. Getting my nervous system to neutrality, purging the old emotions. And to me, it's when the nervous system doesn't feel safe, whether you've learned as a child that love is conditional, when the support also felt conditional, whether it be your family, your friends, and when your light becomes a trigger for someone else, you become too much. So I do a lot of work with women of the ancestral imprinting, the female lineage, where it's carried down in the DNA. And sometimes they think it's theirs, but it is theirs, but it's also the combination of the layered effect of the women before us and how it's been passed on down through the DNA. So for me, it's never about money, but it's about the nervous system feeling safe and feeling held, that it's okay. Scarcity begins in the nervous system, and that's the work I've been doing, is just visualizing my nervous system like an old oak tree roots, and just allowing those roots to release the the imprinting that I have had from my childhood, from my grandparents. And my parents were farmers also. And so there was either not enough rain, not enough money. How did the garden do this year? Do we have enough potatoes for the year? So it's really just learning that I don't have to go buy the bulk cans of canned corn or soup to have in my pantry for one day in case we don't have enough. It's just trusting that it's going to be there when I need it and sinking into safety.
Mm, that is so true on so many levels. And I don't know about everybody else in the United States, but one of the things here that I witness with my friends and family is we don't like to go without. And my family and I are completely okay with going without. I remember when there was the COVID thing, the toilet paper thing, I was like, we're just going to use some washcloths or something. Like if we don't have toilet paper, I'm totally fine with that. But so many people weren't, right? They were buying everything up because we were so afraid of not having. And so that's all of our conditioning coming out and not finding another way or trusting that there is another way to get to the same outcome. Like we may not have potatoes, but do we have rice? Like, is there another way that we don't have to feel like that specific thing is going to be doom and gloom? And I think that has been one of the things that I've been reframing because I too grew up. My parents got divorced when I was 6 months old, so my dad really struggled to raise us, and he often didn't have enough money, right? And so who knows if there was enough food and all of that. And so we do get all of that conditioning. And yeah, thank you for sharing that. Okay, who's gonna go next?
I'll jump in. Um, I love everything that Terra and Velva have both shared so far. And one thing that I would like to add to it is your sense of worth, your sense of self-worth, right? And that does come from conditioning, right? Of what other people tell you and how you're raised, how you're made to feel. But that also comes from this power source within you that you can tap into and just kind of like trumpet, right? Like play that trump card. Like your trump is I am worthy. Right?
Mhm.
You can be the queen of hearts, so to speak. Um, and and so when you say I am worthy, I am enough, I am, you really do open those pathways to see what is there and available to you, even if it isn't exactly what you think you need or want, or as much of both in the moment. And that's that worth. So that kind of ties back into the giving and the receiving, because how often do you compliment someone on a dress and they're like, oh, this old thing, or oh my gosh, I got this on sale. They're deflecting their worth of having something beautiful, right? And they don't realize, oh, it made that person feel good to give you that compliment. So maybe you shouldn't like discredit it by saying it's old or I got it on sale, right? It can just be beautiful for the sake of beauty because it's worthy of it.
Yes, yes, I love that. Okay, Bonnie.
I love what everybody has brought up so far. And the thing that I would like to touch on that I think is also a big piece is the ability to trust. So when we are in scarcity, we're not trusting that it's going to work out. We're not trusting that it's going to be okay. We're not trusting that we are supported. We're not trusting that we are held. And and that's like the scarcity mindset. And so yes, like understanding your worth and taking care of your nervous system and all of these things, these are all pieces, like beautiful pieces of this. And then the ability to trust that I will be supported. I trust that I will be taken care of. I trust that there is enough. I trust that what comes to me is meant for me. And and yeah, and it all comes from within, right? We don't need to look externally for what we need to fulfill us. We just trust that it's there and and we stay strong in that within ourselves.
Yeah. So I've heard safety, trust, worthiness. All of these words are grounded in who we are, and I would say some feminine and masculine embodiment here. So let's move into how is the frequency of feminine abundance or feminine frequency of abundance, I should say, different from the traditional masculine pursuit of wealth, and how can we incorporate that feminine frequency to allow us to have a new relationship between abundance and wealth? They're very different, but how can we move throughout this time here on Earth in a new way?
I feel like I can jump in a little bit. So for me, as soon as you started explaining and preparing to ask the question, you said the feminine frequency of abundance and the masculine perception of wealth, right? And I'm like, right away, I was like, those are two very different things. And then you went on, and you said, how can they come together? So I feel like there's another word that we can bring forward here, and that's prosperity
Mhm.
instead of wealth, because wealth, as we've already, explained, wealth in and of itself is directly related to money, and so many people have that negative connotation tied to it, right? Like it already has this, oh, it's only for those people, or it's only for wealthy people. But if we bring in a new word and we bring in that word of prosperity, then that allows us all to tap into that frequency and prosper in all the areas in which we are ready to grow and thrive in. And then that indirectly or directly, depending on each person and their situation, allows that wealth to flow in for the betterment of everyone.
I really, really like that, Crystal, because if we feel we're prosperous, I feel like our abundance frequency is endless, right? Because we trust that whatever we need and whatever our objective is or our purpose or our mission is, it's going to be fulfilled because we have the means to do it. I totally believe that. I feel like I'm more prosperous now than when I worked in the corporate world making $250,000. Like I totally do because I feel like I just always have what I need to give to the homeless or to donate to that person that I need or do whatever it is. I feel like I have more to work with than I did back then. And so your definition of money, right, and the connotations is so true because I would say I'm more prosperous now than I've ever been. And my husband and I always say we're so much more happy than we've ever been. And we have quote unquote less money than we've ever had, right? And so it's a whole different frequency and vibe than we've had before. So I really love that. Who wants to go next?
Yeah, and
Oh,
can
go
I
ahead.
just add like one
Yeah.
sentence? So many people they'll like drive away from like coming to any one of us here, right? For growth or whatever, because they just don't want to go there with the feelings. But for the frequency, you have to go there with the feelings. You have to clear out those negative energies and you have to tap into the positive ones because the positive ones are what's going to magnetize things towards you.
Yes. Yes, for sure. For sure. To do this work, it's not easy.
I would
Okay.
really love to build on what Crystal said.
Okay.
So, I really love that she pulled that differentiation out and really just set a definition that built upon what Nicole said. When we look at prosperity and we look at it as a mindset, it's not just a mindset, it's a heart set that, and we talk about the vibration, the abundance vibration, but it comes with authenticity. So Crystal's sharing about the space of, shifting from the avoiding the feelings to sitting in the feelings to that authenticity is such a key piece to magnetism. You will magnetize the people who are meant for you when you're sitting in authenticity, meaning that you're not silencing your words, you're playing bigger, you're showing up bigger, you're collaborating. This space right here is such a beautifully collaborative space. The magazine, the What the Feminine, all of this collaboration is in the side of prosperity. And when we look at moving from that lack position into the faith position, it's choosing faith over fear. It's choosing collaboration over competition. It's choosing so many things that I I believe, and maybe that's an idealistic point of view, but that's what we were meant to be here for. We weren't meant to be pitted against each other and sitting closed off and sitting with walls up and warriored up, as Velva had used that term in a previous What the Feminine. We weren't meant to be sitting like that. We were meant to have our emotions sit in authentic being, attract the people that are meant to be in our tribe, and allow ourselves to have that prosperity of community and showing up in that respect. And I think that really, I believe, I feel that that really is a shift that's coming. Women are no longer tolerating, women in healing are no longer tolerating that competitive space. We're in a space of collaboration. And I think that's really where our abundance and our prosperity is showing up. And I'm going to agree with Nicole. I am more abundant and prosperous as a self employed woman than I ever was sitting in corporate. And we're not talking about the money anymore. I'm talking about the time. I'm talking about the opportunity to raise my children and see my grandbabies. Like prosperity has such a deeper meaning.
Hmm.
Mhm.
It really
Yeah.
does. It's incredible. You can have it in the corporate world too. It's just you have to really um, shift how you receive the information there because there's so much red tape and toxicity. Like you have to really be grounded and rooted in who you are and do the work and have good boundaries for sure. Who wants to go next?
I can go. So, to me, this is the masculine is operating in a linear timeline. It's straightforward. We follow the procedures. It's all about exertion, effort, external progress. Whereas the feminine connection is spiral. It's like you make that
Mhm.
revolution and you're like, okay, I saw that experience different than I did before. I got it. That's prosperity. It's like your lens is showing you a different view on that spiral up, and the evolvement becomes the prosperity. Like we've all said, working, in the 9 to 5 job, it feels empty, it feels draining, it feels restricted. Whereas as we're moving into this The females are opening up into the heart space, listening within, becoming magnetic, drawing the energies that are a match rather than the masculine forcing their way through just to get to the end line. The end line for us is inside. It's an inside job.
Yes, yes. And really, is there an end, right? Because if we're doing the inside work that's constantly needing to be nourished, planting seeds, watering them, letting them grow, watching them grow, right? It's a journey and that journey never ends. All right, Bonnie, go ahead.
I see, I agree with like the masculine. I agree with the idea that the masculine way of towards wealth is linear and the feminine way is spiral. I love that metaphor. And I think that where a lot of women get stuck is in that masculine energy of trying to get to the next thing because our whole like society and culture is built upon the masculine way of doing things and the patriarchy. And so yeah, so that's where I see where a lot of women get stuck. It's they're pushing, they're proving, they're trying to get to the next step, up to the next level, doing it in the way that it always has been done, at least in the patriarchal society. But that's where we're changing things, right? We're changing this right now. It's the feminine way of calling in abundance is through receiving and being in your radiance and trusting your magic. And all of these things may not make sense to the average person who's stuck in the patriarchal way of doing things. But when a woman can really step into her feminine power and she can embrace all of these qualities about herself and she can embrace her magic. And I mean, magic just happens, everything comes. And one way is not better than the other. I think that right now we're in an imbalance between the masculine and feminine. And I'm not saying that we just need to be, everything needs to be feminine, there's a balance, right? It's like the yin and the yang. There needs to be a balance in the greater collective, and there also needs to be a balance within ourselves between the masculine and feminine, right? If I just sat around all day, like hoping to receive and doing nothing about it, I might not receive in the way that I'm hoping for. And if I'm just like hitting the pavement in the masculine way, I'm going to burn out because the feminine energy isn't meant to operate in that way. And so finding the balance between the masculine and the feminine within ourselves, I think is probably the way to abundance with most ease.
I love that. Oh, so good. Okay, I always love to leave the show with a little takeaway because we want to make sure that you have something to end and go away with. So, what would be one? I'm going to throw a little curveball for you today. What would be one short exercise they can do to call in abundance? How would you tell your clients to, call in abundance in a new way? What would you do for them? Who wants to go first? Go, Bonnie. Want to
Um,
go? Okay.
I would say for most women, what probably they need is to check in with themselves first and see what is it that they need. Like not thinking about money or wealth or even the concept of abundance in general, but just checking in and being like, what do I need in this moment? Do I need to eat? Am I dehydrated? Like, do I need to take a nap? Do I need to have an orgasm? Like, do I need to receive in that way? Do I need to be in community with other women? Like, what is it? What's one small thing that you can do today that is for you, that takes care of your needs? Because that is giving to yourself, and in that, you're receiving.
Yes, yes. I love that so much. That is one of the places I started with. I just started asking myself, what do I want in this moment? What do I need in this moment? I just started listening to that. Okay, who's next?
I can I can go.
Okay.
So I want to build on what Bonnie was saying. Is it's like filling your cup, but I want to layer on that and say embody how you want to feel. Like really feel it in your heart. Get in your heart. Go to a place, whether whatever it may be for you, that you just feel held and supported. Because when you can embody the emotions and the frequencies of how you want to feel, it's going to open your heart and it's going to draw the abundance in. But the key is staying in the heart, getting out of the mind, and emitting that frequency from your soul to attract that energy back in.
Yes. All right, Crystal, I saw you wanted to go too. Go ahead.
So it's very in line with what Velva just shared, because I was just drawing off of Bonnie's. So for me, it's just slightly different. Is really thinking about, like projecting yourself into the future of the possibility, right? As if that possibility has come true. Allow yourself that what if dreaming moment. And you get a glimpse, like a visual glimpse, and oh, how does that feel? And so then I was, you know, so when we're all on the same wavelength, we come up with very similar, the same things. But really allowing that feeling to just build, right? Because when you do embody, to use Velva's word, that feeling, that becomes the frequency that draws it to you.
Yeah, so embodying your future self, right? So she was
Yeah.
talking about embodying the frequency, but you're talking more about maybe perhaps embodying your future self and how you see yourself in the future and what that might look like.
Yeah, because if we go off the conversation of, we're raised in linearly and everything's patriarchal and linear, we really are quantum beings. We all of us, whether you're male or female, it doesn't matter. We are quantum. So every moment in every instance, we are every version of ourselves. So if you really allow that future you to to gift you with something, and that feeling is the thing that becomes the frequency that draws it to you.
Yes, yes. All right, Tara.
I love what these ladies are all saying because I think I'm going to bring it back to something that Velva had stated earlier around the nervous system. Some of the work that I do with with my coaching clients, with the business students, is really around that soft stretch. So we can visualize what we want for our future, and we can embody that state of being, and growing into that state of being. And it's a nervous system regulation that we need to feel safe in what we're asking for. We need to feel safe in what we're open to receive. And then what I refer to as that soft stretch. So if we're going to take it, I'm going to take the example income based because I actually gave this to a student last week. Is okay, what is your income wish? And it feels safe. And then I'm like, okay, let's stretch it just a little bit more because we need to learn to feel safe in holding that. It's not just about the receiving, it's do we feel safe in holding that? And it's a soft stretch that allows us to grow into that future version. I think one of the things that where people kind of get it mistaken is that they think they should just automatically have it. Well, if we automatically were the person that was able to receive it, we'd already have it. So it's that growth, it's that healing, it's that nervous system regulation, it's that identification with worth and that reclamation with our worth that we need to move into so that we become the person that's capable of receiving and holding it.
Yes. Oh, these conversations are so good. Okay, well, thank you all for being here and talking about the frequency of femininity and abundance with me. If you are enjoying our shows, please like, share, subscribe so that this can reach more people. We will be back in a few weeks for another one with new panelists. And thank you all for being here.